Good morning. Wait till we get a few people to join us. I'm sure some people can guess where we are this morning. It's a pretty beautiful day. As you can see, I'm kind of squinting because it's actually pretty bright out, which is very nice. For those of you who haven't figured it out, that will probably be a very good guess where we are. Good morning, everyone. I'm Andrew Kircher, Community Engagement Manager here at Port Huron Museums. We are live at the lighthouse, the Fort Gratiot Light Station this morning. We actually had a specific request the other day of places to look at. Obviously, you know, everybody's very concerned, and we don't need to dwell on any of the things in the modern world that are going on, but one of the things that a lot of people have been talking about are hospitals, and we actually have 3 hospitals here in town. We all think about McLaren, we all think about the Old Mercy Hospital, but there's also the Fort Gratiot Hospital, and this is a really cool building. I figured today, since it was so nice out, would be a great day to do kind of a little virtual tour of St. Clair County's oldest building. So now before we go inside, I'm going to turn things around here so you don't have to look at my ugly mug, and we can see the building. There we go. So this is the Fort Gratiot Hospital. This is the Fort Gratiot Hospital. Now this is, like I said, the oldest building, wood building in St. Clair County, but it's not on its original location. So when we think of Fort Gratiot today, most of us are thinking of the place where the mall is. We think of the modern municipality. We think of Fort Gratiot Township. We'll go inside. It might be a little bit easier to hear out of the wind too. Fort Gratiot Township, which is obviously a modern municipality, but it is, of course, named after Fort Gratiot, the historic structure, series of structures. So Fort Gratiot dates all the way back to the War of 1812. Anyone who's been down to the water knows that Port Huron is a very strategic location. In fact, if we look out the window here, we can see the lighthouse, and in the distance, way out there, we can see Canada on the other side. So this is obviously a very strategic point where all of Lake Huron is draining into the St. Clair River. And if you wanted to stop ships from going by here, this made sense, a great place to put a fort. In fact, there was a fortification here all the way back in the 17th century, Fort St. Joseph, but that's a story for another time. So during the War of 1812, the United States is at war with Great Britain and her colonies, which at the time included Canada, still kind of does. So this was a very logical place to build a fort. In fact, it was named for the man who kind of laid out and designed the original place, Charles Gratiot. Now, Charles Gratiot came from a French family. That's why there's that strange spelling. If you live in Fort Gratiot or you've met any out-of-towners, they're like, I don't what Gratiot, and they don't know how to say it. But Fort Gratiot, named for Charles Gratiot, was originally laid out in 1814 during the war. Soldiers occupy it for a while, but we can walk around here just a little bit, and I'll tell you why this place is such a work in progress. So Charles Gratiot lays out the fort. It's pretty small, and actually just a couple of years after the War of 1812, it's abandoned. In the 1820s, when this building dates from, the U.S. Army actually comes back and rebuilds the post. There were troubles out in Wisconsin, out in the greater Midwest. They wanted a larger U.S. military presence in the area, so they rebuild Fort Gratiot. It's here in 79. I'm going to walk by a couple of pictures. Most of these were taken all on the same day. A photographer who came to town here. They're a little blurry from being blown up and then being transmitted through the phone. But these were all taken on the same day of the interior of the fort, like 1869, 1870 or so. By 1879, the fort was no longer a military necessity. They weren't scared of Canada attacking any more than we are today. So the fort was obsolete and it was closed down. And a lot of the buildings, some of them were already kind of falling apart and they took them down. Some of the buildings, like the Post Hospital, which, again, this is the building that we are in right now. This building was on St. Clair Street, or what is today St. Clair Street, which was actually just south of the bridge. Today we're just north of the bridge. That was just south. And this building was actually moved. It was divided in half and turned into two separate homes. Very small homes, but two separate homes. And you can see one of them got kind of like a mansard-looking roof there, and they were painted different colors. So it's kind of amazing when about 20 years ago, a team of archaeologists who had been working there had been walking through the neighborhood. They discovered these two homes and realized that, in fact, those two homes weren't two separate homes. It was the hospital that had been chopped in half. Once the building was chopped in half, it was about getting ready to be torn down when the museum stepped in. We were able to put it back onto one foundation again through the help of a lot of local businesses and organizations, put this building back together, and we are working on it. So the outside is pretty much done, but the inside is obviously, we got a little ways to go. But this is still pretty impressive for a wooden building all the way from the 1820s. This is just one of the buildings you can see. You can come learn a little bit about the history of medicine here in St. Clair County. See this building yourself. We've got a pretty neat little diorama here showing a couple of different things about the fort. These are just some of the things that you can see when you visit the Fort Gratiot Light Station when we reopen. So the Fort Gratiot Light, which was named for Fort Gratiot, right up there. That is the oldest light station, and it's the oldest lighthouse in the state. And Michigan has more lighthouses than any other state in the country. This is a great one to come and visit when we're able to reopen. Now, speaking of reopening, I know everyone is having a difficult time. We are definitely living in historical times. One of the things that I would ask everyone to keep in mind during these times, we're an organization that wants to be here for you when this is all over. We spend a lot of time thinking about the future and worrying about that, but it's always important to look back to the past and the lessons that it can teach us. And we've got actually a great opportunity for you to invest into the future of the museum. Since we're closed right now and will be for the foreseeable future because of the ongoing COVID concerns, this is a great opportunity to buy a site ticket or a Huron Huron Experience Pass. And this actually gets you into all 4 of our historic sites once each, and you don't even have to go all on the same day. Or just an annual membership. You can come to all of our sites as many times as you want. It really pays for itself quite quickly. All of these are an option, and what we're doing kind of special because of these times, while we're closed right now, if you purchase one of these today, we will activate them, and they'll be good for a full year from the day that you pick them up. I know we could really use kind of the cash infusion right now, as you might imagine from a museum like this. We make a lot of our funds to keep the lights on and the staff paid and new exhibits designed and things like that. Those all come from activities, school programs, rentals. You can rent almost all of our buildings for special events, weddings, things like that. Those are all options to look into once things kind of return to normal. But a great way to give back to the museum, like I said, invest in the future right now, is to take a look at those options, which you can find right on our website, right on the top. So phmuseum.org. You'll find we've got a couple great big buttons with a little bit more about our response to these difficult times. But if you've enjoyed this, take a look. Hopefully we'll be back from some more. If anyone has any particular requests, things that they would like to see us cover in the coming days and weeks, let's hear them. Throw them up in the comments. I'd love to see them. Again, my name was Andrew Kircher, Andrew Kircher. I'm the Community Engagement Manager. It's been a long couple of weeks, as you can tell, at Port Huron Museums, and hopefully we'll be seeing all of you at these really cool historic sites soon. All right, take care.